What is up, my fellow Crusaders? This is Al Mega with another Comic Crusaders podcast. And today you see who's chilling with me, the one and only from the Who Would Win show, right? He's also now a producer in the Digital Sky networks of this awesome show we're going to talk about called Rideshare. I'm talking about the one and only James Gavsie. What's up, brother?
Listen, I got to hire you. Again, we were joking before the show, but every time I walk, like once the world opens up, if I go to a restaurant, I go to the gym, I want Al Mega right there to announce my entry in that exact same way. That was fantastic.
Thank you. And I got you, man. I'm going to have a yellow and black megaphone, pun intended. And I got you, brother. Awesome. So, folks, today we're going to talk to James about this awesome show that he's actually producing from the Digital Sky Network, and it's called Rideshare. It's something you've never even seen before. It's a mix of like motion comic, but it's movie. You're getting some pro production on this. You know what? Enough of me talking about it right now. I'm going to put you on to it, and then we're going to get right into what this awesome show is all about.
The Digital Sky Podcast presents Rideshare, the series. To pick up where it left off.
This is a really beautiful place, Richard. You got this all to yourself, huh?
Yep.
Follow the weekly adventures of Keith.
Your driver, Denny, has arrived in a red Ford Focus.
An enigmatic con man who could be behind the wheel of your next trip.
You're kind of different from the guy in the picture.
A thief getting into your back seat, ready to steal your car.
If I can make just one quick stop, maybe I can go.
A dangerous stranger capable of anything.
Get out! Oh my God!
Unexpected twists at every turn.
He deserves to be castrated, not murdered.
You think we should castrate him first?
Two-time Emmy winner Eric Marstoff and Britt Barron, star of the Netflix series Glow, lead an all-star cast of some of the best voice performers anywhere.
You're not taking my car.
Digital Sky presents Rideshare, the series.
Just remember, karma is a bitch.
Well, I'll be waiting for her when she comes, all right?
Subscribe now at youtube.com/Digital Sky for groundbreaking visual versions of the Digital Sky podcast.
Trust me and touch the screen.
Hey, guys, in the future, please be careful who you get in the car with.
Woo! Folks, what do you think about that? Motion comics, drama, high energy. I mean, this is better than a motion comic, though. This is, I think, way beyond that. So give us a little details of what Rideshare, the series, is.
All right, so Rideshare, the series, is an audio drama written and directed by Scott Zachrin. This is a person who has an IMDb list a mile long. So we created this episode, or this whole series, that tells the story of Keith, who's this very enigmatic, mysterious con artist. Think of Dexter meets Punisher meets Bruce Wayne. And he goes in and he says, how am I going to, have fun with my life in a way at the expense of other people? I'm going to be a rideshare driver. So he'll pose as a passenger, as a rideshare driver, steal someone's car, and then he'll take the car, take their app, and start just getting some weird stuff, weird adventures. I'll leave it at that.
Let me tell you that one of the things that I got off of this character, the vibe of Keith, is that he's a pleasant asshole. He's a very gentlemanly person, but what a douche.
He's exactly that guy. He's the guy who will steal your car, but he'll do it in such a cool way, you'll have a great story to tell your friends after, and you'll actually hope to see him again.
Like, wow, I just got my car stolen by this rideshare guy, but he was so cool. He is the dude, the actor behind the voice of Keith, right? That's Eric Marstoff. Please tell me I said it right.
Oh yeah, Eric Marstoff, great guy. This is a guy who was Booster Gold in Smallville. He's an Emmy Award winner on Days of Our Lives. Plays Brady Black. He's awesome. By the way, he looks like a superhero, sounds like a superhero, acts like a superhero. Just an all-over wonderful, great guy. So we brought him in to do the voice work, and we actually created the graphics representation off of him as well. So just a wonderful guy. And then we also have Britt Barron from Final Fantasy Remake and Glow, who's a big part of this series as well. So we got some insane talent, plus a slew of other great actors who came on board.
Oh, I see. This is where my curiosity is really peaked here. I mean, Digital Sky, you've been popping off some great stuff recently, right? Now you're doing this, and you're getting some major talent. I mean, how are you guys working this? That's awesome. I'm so proud of you guys and seeing this amazing growth.
Well, listen, we try to follow in the footsteps of really amazing people like an Al Mega, with Comic Crusaders and other people that despite what's going on with the coronavirus, there are those out there who say, okay, got it. We got to pivot. We got to shift. So how do we produce great content in what's currently going on? So the Digital Sky team, as well as who would win, we said, okay, well, how do we do this? We just go remote. I mean, not a big deal. And we've been able to just bring on a lot of people because there's a lot of actors who are still waiting to do some great roles, but because production shut down, now they're saying, well, what else is out there? So we said, great time for us. Let's go out, reach out, and it's been insane who's been saying, I'd love to come onto your show. And by the way, we've got some crazy, crazy guests coming on, very popular actors and what have you that'll be on very shortly.
Oh, I can't wait, because again, the series, I saw the episode 1. Wow, the guy's a douche. I felt so bad for, what was it, Jack, played by Anthony Richard?
That's right. So that was, you're talking about the two characters that Keith had his target.
Yes. Lydia,
Richard.
was played by Britt, but then, dude. It's
crazy. Because I got to sit in with I'm sitting on the recordings. I'm seeing Scott Zachrin doing the directing thing, and I'm kind of helping out with that on different ends. And I got to tell you, it is insane listening to these performances and putting them together. And then when you add the sound effects, when you add the production, you don't think it can get any better. And all of a sudden, it's like, this is crazy good. And then we added the visuals because we realize this is more than just a podcast. And Al, you and I have talked about this a lot.
Yes.
Look, no offense to everyone who does podcasts. I do a podcast. You do a podcast.
Yep.
But not all podcasts are built equally. Just because you record some audio onto your phone, put it on Apple, doesn't mean you're a podcaster. So we wanted to say, how do we take this to the next level? That's through production values. And then we added the visuals, the motion comic, to kind of take it even further.
It does, because there's unfortunately some people that have a dry imagination, even though they could listen all they want, but it's hard for them to kind of focus on the imagery. This really is that extra little step to help in that imaginative process. And the artwork looks gorgeous. Again, the production, the movement, everything works so seamlessly. So a big kudos to that production team of yours. They're doing a phenomenal job.
Let me make something really clear, by the way. Thank you for that. And again, anytime you get a compliment from Al Mega, it's an amazing thing. I'm part of a great production team. I'm so thankful that I'm doing this. Listen, you and I go back a little bit. I love production. I love the whole process. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and man, is it so much fun. It's ridiculously fun. I love the casting part. I love talking with the actors. I love the watching it all come together. So, but the reality is, I am a piece of an amazing team that we put together.
Gotcha. One of the cogs in that wonderful machine. And, speaking of that machine, right, have you yourself been involved in production prior to this, on this type of level?
I've done a few things within the worlds of combat sports and, produced a couple of small little pilots of, shows that didn't go over. I've produced some stuff. But if you were to say if I've ever been involved with a team of this magnitude, the answer is no. So that's another reason why I'm so excited, is because, look, I'm learning a lot from this process. We've got Burt Benton, who's a producer as well, great guy, who's also the attorney of the team. We've got social media people, we've got graphics people, we've got editors, we've got engineers. I mean, the whole team together works really, really well because we're all cool, and we just want to create something really, really great.
Well, I think job well done there. There's another thing I'm very impressed by, because one thing I noticed is that you guys use Zencastr, which obviously means that some people are not at the studio, and yet it's so crispy. Wow. I mean, how is the use of that technology for this? People.
Sure. Here's the deal. So originally, Rideshare, let me take a step back. So Zoid Media created this series called Digital Sky, which was like an anthology series, right? Every episode was a standalone kind of close-ended thing. And all of those, before I came on board with the team. So all of those things, all those episodes were produced in studio in Santa Monica, in Los Angeles. And when, Corona hit and we're like, well, what do we do? Well, we did two things. Number one, we said we did a little kind of cool vote and poll, and we found everyone loved Rideshare this first episode. We said, great, that's what we're going to spin the series off. And then we had to say, well, then how do we do this? So we're using Zencastr, where everyone comes in. Now, of course, our amazing engineer, Johnny McConnell's on there, and everyone gets on. We got him, it's almost like school time. Okay, everyone be quiet. Johnny, one at a time. And he's going through all of these insane actors saying, let me check your mic. Let me check your mic. Let me check. Oh, wait, you're off a little bit. And then we go. And everyone's
How long is that process for them to set up?
We hope it
lasts. Sounds horrible. Like the time.
Listen, here's the deal. This is almost like a plug for Zencastr, and I'm also going to be really truthful with Zencastr. It's a very fragile thing. So you can go in, and it takes anywhere from 20 to 25 minutes just to make sure everyone, and I'm talking like if there's 8 people on at the same time. And what happens is if one person accidentally, disconnects a mic or changes a setting, then there's this cascade domino effect all the way down. And then you're like, oh my God, we got to are you kidding me? We got to and you know what I mean? But with that being said, we're getting such great results that we're like, no, we're going to stick with it.
Listen, man, you always got to weigh those options out. And again, the quality does speak for itself. So
well, thank
kudos.
you.
I've known of Zencastr, but kind of nice to see someone use it and really appreciate the quality of that. So shout out to Zencastr for sure. This is a royalty-free show right now. So
that's right.
That's a freebie, all right? There was a couple of cracks. I mean, do you have a comedian that's a writer? Because there was the crack about on the toilet, made in China. Oh, that's how they snuck. I was like, oh my God.
That was a little,
but it cracked me up, bro. It cracked me up. I was like, wow, this guy's an asshole.
He is. It's funny. The person who wrote that episode and all of our episodes is Scott Zachrin, and he is, amongst many other things, great director, great producer, but man, is he ever a phenomenal writer. And I remember reading the script and calling him and saying, Scott, so this line. He's like, yeah, what about it? I'm like, well, it could be possibly taken the wrong way, and we should. He's like, no, it's fine. I'm like, you sure? He's like, I'm telling you, people will find it funny. Sure enough, everyone I've talked to has found it hilarious. So
yeah, I did.
Scott Zachrin knows what he's doing.
What amuses me is, guys, you got to see this episode, because why would somebody kneel down and look at the name brand? Where is this made before I take a leak on it?
Now, by the way, that's kind of a little subtle hint into the mind of Keith, the main character. Keith is someone who notices everything about anything about everybody. So as the season goes on, you're going to start to see that Keith is noticing things about people and knows how to use it against them psychologically. Yeah.
It's in that first episode. Again, people, please watch this first episode. But obviously, in the course of the episode, there's a lot of interactions, and it's amusing how he handles those situations. I mean, another person, come on, be honest, if it was a Puerto Rican there, we'd be all loud, screaming, shut up, But this guy was just so funny. And he was just relaxed that the victims didn't feel victimized almost.
Well, so here's the thing. So when I have people watch the episode, by the way, Keith would be lucky to be Puerto Rican. I'm just putting that out there. Secondly, what I do tell people is, can you spot the con? Can you watch this at the beginning with your eyes open? Hey, there's a con coming. Can you spot it? Do you know when it's going to happen? And I can tell you, someone who's read all the scripts so far, I haven't been able to spot it all the time.
No, you can't. You can't. It flows so well. You don't know. Again, the flow of the show is just so natural and cool. You're just there watching, and you're seeing things develop, and and all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, whoa, great stuff. Again, cool. Your writer here is kicking ass, and again, the visuals definitely do help a lot. To personify this guy, because again, it's an audio drama as a motion comic. This is so different. This is why we needed to talk. This is something very special.
Well, here's the deal, Al. What you and I have in common is we don't stop, right? We can't, regardless of what happens. I remember the first time I met you in person at Comic-Con, and my son was with me, and we were all kind of talking and stuff. And the impression he got of you when we left was, Dad, this guy, I can tell he's super smart. He works hard. He's like, Dad, you got to stay friends with this guy. He's really cool too. And I'm like, done, and done. But the reality is, what is the other choice?
Exactly.
You just wait and hope everything turns out okay. And I don't know, 4, 6 months, 12 months, I have no idea. So just move forward. There's always a way to move forward. Stay positive. This too, I do believe this too shall pass. And we're going to get a ton of great lessons we've learned from this that we'll be able to carry on with.
There's a lot of things, a lot of people don't learn lessons of the past, but I hope that in this time, with this current generation, we do, in fact, remember this time and try to make things easy. And it's like you said, this is the perfect time for people not to take a step back and worry about their woes, but let's be forward thinkers, everyone. And you can do anything. I mean, the internet, again, open the floodgates for creativity and opportunity. So a lot of people need to please just take that opportunity. Grab it.
It's funny you say that. I wanted to kind of just say something as a little, what's weird is, like, I'm a producer in title, right? And I still have a lot to learn as well. But with that being said, I'm getting hit up by quite a few people saying, hey, what can I do? Or what do you think I should do and the first thing I say is figure out where you can take action and do with it. But I want to provide a little bit of some insight right now into what I'm seeing. This may be the best opportunity ever to get involved in the entertainment industry. Mm-hmm. Production's down, of course, I get it. But a lot of people are kind of standing still and are looking for opportunities, not necessarily where you have to bring someone money to make something happen, but a lot of people are a lot more receptive. For example, if you have a podcast, now's the time to reach out to someone's manager who you thought you could never get on as a guest. Now's the perfect time for that. Sponsors, I know there's a ton of companies that are like, we're ready to advertise, but we don't have the normal ways to advertise because TV stuff's down. This is a great time. It's a whole new world, and the barriers of entry that we thought were there are starting to change and break apart a little bit.
Yes, they are. You're absolutely right. I love that we're going into this right now a little bit, as souls that have entrepreneurial spirit amongst us, you know what I mean? So if you have that bug, James is 150% correct. Now is the time of opportunity, not procrastination. So definitely, feel free to pick my brain.
Yeah.
Pick James' brain. I mean, we'll make time, the first session will be free.
First one's free, and then it's a 10-pack. You got to buy it $1,000 for every half hour cash. Whatever. You know
what? But that'll be worth it, to be honest. Because every day I do learn. I do learn every single day something new, and but it's something I would love to share with others. But then again, there's also avenues for folks like us that are so ingrained, and we've put in over our 10,000 hours already. In our fields, if you will. So we're kind of experts. And
I believe we put in our 10,000 hours in way under 10 years. I think
way under.
Right? I think we're 10,000 hours in 3 years or so. So
yeah, I agree, James, because definitely with Comic Crusaders Undercover Capes, and I'm building the AMP podcast as well. So I'm gonna have 3 monsters that I've been building up. Although I'm delegating one now, finally learning lessons about delegation, which is very important, folks. Keep that in mind too. James, is that with everything going on with you, because you got the whole Who Would Win show, right? You got the Digital Sky going on. How do you manage and delegate that time of yours to be able to successfully produce these amazing programs?
I don't.
Total honesty. What's time management?
What's time management? I've got an MMA school that's been kind of half closed down in Los Angeles, where we're holding classes outside in the parking lot, because what people love doing. Yeah, what people love is doing grappling and MMA and jiu-jitsu on a parking lot. That's totally what people love. They don't. But everything's good. Don't worry. We're doing. I've got that I'm trying to help oversee with our manager and our clients and instructors. And then you've got Who Would Win, which, by the way, in terms of a production thing, is nowhere near the requirements of like something as insane and as amazing as Rideshare. So right now, my main focus is Rideshare, the series, making sure that I'm assisting with the social media push we've got going with it. Talking with the marketing people, and I'm helping. I'm a big part of the overall production process and launch process. So you get up super early in the morning, walk the dog, make sure the kids are doing what they got to do for school and whatever, and then you go to sleep at 11, 12, 1, possibly 3 o'clock in the morning, and rinse and repeat the next day. The bottom line is, I have the most amazing wife in the world. Her name's Roxanne, and I married up. I married up. I'm not sure if she lost a bet or whatever, but anyway, I married up, and she is the key to everything I have in terms of success.
You know what? If she lost the bet then, at least now you're going to make up for it. So she's going to wind up being a winner of this bet.
It was a long game for her, but yes, it'll pay off well.
Yeah, man. Again, you guys rock. So there was something I wanted to bring up. Oh, my gosh. You just in the excitement, you brought up Roxy and all, good stuff. Because, again, having a supportive spouse like that, a partner in your life, man, is definitely very key. Because I myself, I wake up early every morning, but I don't want to like leave from the room because, oh, why are you up so early? People think I'm crazy for some odd reason. They think I'm crazy. I want to wake up early and just work.
Wait, for some odd reason or for some very clear, demonstrable reason that everyone can see right away?
No, I think for me it's odd. If I work hard, let me work hard. I'm trying to build something. So if you don't do, I think you should shut up. That's just my opinion. And people get mad when I say it that way, but it's just, I don't mean it in a rude way, but it's like, if you're not trying, son, who are you to tell me that how I should do it?
What's that expression? I'm using this a lot these days. You do you. Right? Like, if this is what you feel is great, I'll at the very least not get in your way. Hopefully I can support you and cheer you on. Yeah. But if that's great for you, at the same time, I'm going to do me and be me. And you know what I mean? And I do find every once in a while I have people say, well, why are you doing this so long? Or why are you working so hard? The reality is because, number one, I want to. And also, I think you and I, what we have in common now is that we see what the possibilities are.
Yes.
And we see what's waiting for us on the other side, and we love the process to get there, and the rewards are really awesome.
Yeah, because if you see it, it will become a reality. And I see it. I know James sees it. And that's what I wanted to say. With the Who Would Win show, come on, man. Ray's been beating you down lately. What's going on here?
Well, first of all, it's funny you say that. We've been keeping track. We're talking about Ray Stacanis. Look, as much as I disagree with that guy, because I do a lot, I got to tell you, he's actually a great guy. Wonderful dad. Really, I'm so happy he's part of the team. And the show's been blowing up, and he's a big reason for the success, no doubt. With that being said, I can't stand the guy because, we get on the show, and this has happened with some of our judges. So for those who don't know the Who Would Win show, we debate, it's a geek and comedy show, and we debate fictional matchups like Luke Skywalker versus Spider-Man. So the reality is, a lot of people say, well, bring up this point, bring up that point, and we try to bring up as many points as we can. But it's up to the judge, and we have a new celebrity judge every episode. So it depends who can influence the judge. So we had an episode of Megatron from the original Transformers versus King Kong from the latest movie. Now, on paper, you think Megatron just messes up King Kong. It's not even close. But for some reason, I convinced the judge that Megatron likes to bail on a fight, because I showed him a YouTube video of him. It was a compilation of him saying retreat over and over again.
It's not like Cobra Commander.
Exactly, same thing. So the judge was like, you're right. Yeah, Godzilla wins. And even I was like, wait, what? And later that night, I get a call from Ray, and he's like, hey, so the judge called me, and he's apologizing. He thinks he made a really horrible call in the fight. And I'm like, too late. He did it. Now, with that being said, the same has happened in reverse. Ray starts shouting at the judge, and the judge is like, okay, well, then I think Ray's character wins. I'm like, what?
He's a bully.
he's the funnest, nicest, craziest, really great debating bully you could ever have on a show as a co-host. I mean, I can't. I wish I could. Trust me, because I'm not a fan of this guy a whole lot, especially when he wins. But I really can't say enough great things about Ray.
I'll admit to that. When you win, I will admit you are a very gracious winner. But man, does Ray's wrestling personality come to the forefront when he loses? I'm like, OMG, bro, let it go.
Oh my God! Listen. Okay,
or even when he wins.
Even when he wins, I'm just like, he's like, yeah, James, you didn't. We'll talk. We'll have a production meeting a couple of days later, and he'll be like, yeah, James, you didn't really celebrate that much when you won. And I'm like, okay, Ray, I get it. You're a pro wrestler or come from pro wrestling. I come from combat sports, MMA. When you celebrate, it's a quick celebration. Then you go over to your opponent. You say, you say, thank you for the match. Are you okay? A big hug, mutual respect. I said, Ray, these are things you never do. And he's like, no, and I'll never do that. And I'm like, that's just ingrained in me. I'm like, you beat your opponent, you go over, bow to them, say good things about their corner, and then you're friends after. That doesn't work with Ray Stacatus.
So there we go. Now you know the difference between an MMA fighter and a wrestler. At least MMAs have a little bit more gentlemanliness to them.
Listen,
or ladylikeness.
the difference between me and Ray is I can go to a grocery store, ask someone for like an item. If it's not there, I'm like, okay, cool, I'll come back. Ray goes in. If they don't have it, he's getting kicked out of that grocery store in like 5 minutes.
Oh man, great! I need him to come to Walmart with me when we find those exclusives, so you can fight for me. That'd be great.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, he'll start the fight, and then you and I are going to have to end it. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Hey, bro, that's been the story of my life, trying to end things always. Now, let's get back to rideshare a little right quick here, right? So with rideshare, what's going to be the schedule of new episodes?
It's a weekly schedule. So we put on our first episode on Tuesday. We got another one coming out this coming Tuesday, and it'll be weekly for a while. And I will say that this is most likely not the only series we'll be doing. You remember? Yeah,
Are you teasing me right now?
Maybe. No, here's the deal. Rideshare, like I said, was a spinoff. It was a season of pilots on our very first season of Digital Sky, and Rideshare was our first spinoff. We have a few other episodes that we can spin off very easily that were in high demand, but we also are working on, not so many details, something extraordinarily special, and I'll leave it at that. But I will say, when we come to that decision, we announce it, you will be one of the very first to know about it.
Please, because whatever it is, we're going to blast it everywhere, for sure.
Love it.
For sure. And that's another thing about Digital Sky that I want people to understand here. Let me put it in the comic books layman's terms. It feels like a DC first issue special.
That's a great way of putting it. That's exactly what it is. Exactly what it is.
So you get in the pilots of all these amazing stories, and now we see that one of those awesome stories spun off in Rideshare, where we meet, again, the most pleasant asshole in the world in Keith. and because of Keith, I will never take an Uber or a Lyft. All right? If I have to walk, I will.
I asked Eric Marstoff, the star of Rideshare and the voice of Keith. We did this kind of cool thing, and then we were off air, and I said, "Hey, quick question." And this actually, I asked him again. This is actually on a video somewhere on Digital Sky. I said, "Hey, do you ever, do anything that like Keith would do?" You remember, he's a good-looking guy. Good-looking guy. Looks like Booster Gold. And I said, "Do you ever try to get away with some mind games like Keith has done?" And there's a pause, and he's like, "No." What? Me? I'm pretty sure he's done it.
So, as a father of a beautiful young lady and the husband of a beautiful wife, when somebody pauses on a question like that, they bullshit.
Yeah, you know what's up real quick.
Hell yeah, that means it's an ass beating, especially if one of those two ladies is around, because I don't trust you now.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, that is Booster Gold, though. You know what I mean? So, I wish we could have gotten that Booster Gold show with him. I mean, there's still opportunity. The man still looks young enough and strong enough. Like you said, he has a superhero look still. So, we could all pray. But for now, he's going to be Keith in Rideshare, and he's going to be the worst nightmare for Rideshares that you've ever had in your life, to be honest. Such a pleasant gentleman, but again, a very dark, demented person. A shout out to your writer again for doing this, because I love characters like that just, they're so assholish, but at the very same time, they could be so pleasant that you become perplexed as a person on how to perceive them. Are they good? Are they bad? You know what I mean? You don't know where to place them. Because if once you watch the first episode, you're really going to understand. The victim is the victim, and the victim has someone else come in that could have been victimized but wasn't victimized. It kind of ended in a real weird way. You're like, what? But it's great.
It's so funny. We were writing this character, and I was speaking with Scott Zachary, and I said, "Okay, wait, I'm trying to place him. Is this? You remember that show Dexter?" And yeah, he's like, "He's not Dexter. He's not a serial killer of serial killers. That's not who it is." I'm like, "Oh, is he kind of like the Punisher? Does he have this mission?" He's like, "Not really." I'm like, "Oh, is he a womanizer?" He's like, the reality is he likes to have his fun. He has his own code. He has his own mission. And if I'm going to be blatantly honest, I still don't know what that is. And I'm producing the show.
Wow. So that goes to show the strength of the writing in this, that even the producer can't even tell the true direction of the show as yet. And if you can you let us know how many episodes ahead are you? in advance of the Tuesday releases?
We're I'll say between 3 to 4 episodes. We always like to have a few episodes in the bank just to kind of do, just be on the safe side. The reality is with Scott Zakrin, he comes up with great ideas all the time. And when I say great ideas, I mean like really great ideas.
I'm sure.
So all of a sudden I'll get a call, hey, what do you think of Keith, blah, blah, blah. And I'll say, Scott, we just wrote the script. The actors are coming in. Then that means this actor can't come in today. And he's like, yeah, but what if we do this? And I'm like, yeah, actually, that sounds great. Let's totally do it. And then we have to revamp. I got to call the agents and be like, hey, can we move this? So anyway, but it's always because he comes up with this amazing stuff. So you can't question genius when it happens.
No, and I love that you respect that, though, and you basically take it into play, because you know how it is in life and in business. Sometimes people don't listen. So the fact that you guys are so receptive to those ideas and are willing to make the sacrifice to change, even at the expense of the show sometimes, because you never know how somebody may take that, especially an agent, because from my side, dealing with agents is not very easy sometimes. Mm-hmm. So, kudos to you, man, because again, that goes to show when they stick around, the quality of the program you have presented. And again, me watching it, it's amazing. Another question I want to ask, we understand it's on Tuesdays, right? That we're going to get every new episode. Is there a specific time that it drops? And what time zone, if so?
I'd say a safe bet is to, the audio will drop a little bit earlier on Apple Podcasts. So feel free to subscribe on Apple Podcasts to Digital Sky. And we love rate us, review us. We read everything. Trust me, we read everything that's written about us. And then the YouTube video will drop a little bit later, but it'll definitely be available in the evening, Pacific time at the very latest. And they'll both be there. And subscribe to Digital Sky on YouTube as well, and like and comment all our stuff.
Yeah, I've been scrolling at the bottom of the screen. I don't know, you guys are seeing it. So Digital Sky, as it is on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe now. You will not regret it. It's going to be total entertainment. Because in this time of all of these dramas going on, in the world, fires and, BLM and civil rights and a whole bunch of things that sometimes we need to tune out and have a little bit of true escapism. And guess what? Digital Sky presents Rideshare, the series, is true escapism. You're not worried. They're not talking politics. They're not talking about, you are just putting on your headphones, check out the visuals, if you're watching it on YouTube, and you're going to get away. And we need that nowadays to kind of reboot, if you will. So James and the Digital Sky family, what was it, Zoink, correct, the production company?
Zoit Media, Zoit, Zoit Media.
Zoit Media, there you go. Zoit Media, shout out for you guys, being such forward thinkers and producing escapism content. That's what I want to call it, because we need that so bad right now.
Al, I want to kind of tip my hat to you as well, because you and I have talked a little bit, and look, there's certain causes that you brought to my attention, I brought to your attention, that we can get behind. Yeah. But, in these very interesting times, what brings people together is a battle between, Black Panther versus Darth Maul. And I'm not even kidding when I say that. Right. Listen, do you have any idea how many Democrats and Republicans agreed that Black Panther would beat Darth Maul? By the way, another huge group of Democrats and Republicans also agreed that Darth Maul should beat Black Panther. Stuff like this helps to unite people. Entertainment gets your mind off of it. Reading all the articles and checking out the stuff at ComicCrusaders.com is just a great way to kind of understand that there's more that unites us than separates
us. Absolutely. And then going back to that Han Solo versus Spider-Man, I'm still trying to figure out if the Force could beat the Spider-Sense.
So here's the deal. Luke Skywalker versus Spider-Man. Let me make this really clear, because we did this as a live show. And the reality is, it always depends on the judges. See, who would win? Here's the deal. Who would win? It's, there's great stuff like Death Battles by Screw Attack. Awesome. Check them out on YouTube. There's epic rap battles of history. I mean, there's Superpowered Beatdown and everything in between. There's a lot of great stuff out there. Who would win's different. Who would win is a sport.
It's way different.
It's a sport where, listen, Al, if you and I wanted to have a debate right now, we could do it. It's a way to kind of reward ourselves for being so involved with geek culture over all these years.
Yeah, you know what I see this as, though? Who would win?
What's up?
Who would win's been around longer. But The Great Debate on Sci-Fi that came out recently. Have you seen that show?
I have. It's a really cool show.
It's a really cool, and I kind of see it like that, with you and Ray in the middle. You say your points, and you got your judge or judges on the side, and let's converse about this. I would love to see you guys on TV doing this stuff, but everything in its time. I'm sure.
Here's the deal. I may have mentioned this before, but Who Would Win was actually a TV show I was pitching.
Oh,
that was the whole deal. Yeah. So what happened was I talked with the producers.
I would have been hooked.
You want to hear something ridiculous?
Yeah,
oh yeah, this is what was ridiculous. The producers are really cool, but they weren't into comic book culture, and they said, is there anything online that shows that people talk about these kind of matchups? And I'm like, okay. They said, give me 30 seconds. I will show you over 1 billion views on YouTube alone. And they said, okay, well, show us a proof of concept. So they started off as a segment in someone's podcast, and then we spun it out, and then, now it is where it is. The whole goal is to bring this to television. That is the whole goal with Who Would Win. Look, I love podcasting as much as the next guy, but I don't know if you can tell, I'm a highly expressive person.
Yes.
I love being in front of camera. I'll put on a show like no one's business, and that's where Who Would Win is heading.
James, I get you, because you see me, we're still doing podcasts, but, because of COVID, we started bringing the game on vidcast, because people want to see us and we could converse. You could see the expressive. All of us are very expressive folks. Us crazy MFers are very expressive because we're passionate about what we love. So we definitely do express it, and that's why our energy is so infectious, if you will.
It is. It's funny how really popular stuff is headed up by people who are really enthusiastic and by the way, also really positive for a lot of the time too.
It's important nowadays to remain positive, man. This is, again, why I love talking to folks like yourself and my Comic Crusaders family. Try to keep it on that positive, Undercover Case family. Keep it strictly positive. What's the point of bringing negativity to any avenue? We could discuss negative topics, sure. But guess what? In almost every negative situation, you can find a piece of positivity or agree to disagree and just be able to move on. Again, because there are people that I'm friends with that people question me, like, why would you consider them a friend if they support so-and-so or they believe in this? Because they don't bring it to me. When we hang out, it's just us two. There is no outside world. Feel me?
Right.
So that's why I'm able to, connect with people. I'm not going to bring up the bullshit if you don't bring up the bullshit. And let's all just get along. You know what I mean? Yes, there are conversations that need to be had. I could agree on that. But if we can't do it in a respectful way, then just don't do it. Please.
What's funny? What else I've noticed as a common thread amongst people who are working hard and doing what they got to do, being positive, is that they're very open to sharing what they've got in case someone needs something, right? And this circles back to what you said before. One of the reasons I love the team I'm part of is because I'm learning so much. Even at this stage of the game, I'm learning so much about production and stuff I didn't know about or I could improve upon or what have you. And when people are open to saying, well, let me show you what I know. And then, by the way, I'm doing the same thing in different regards. There's a magic to that. And I'm finding that with a lot of really positive people, they're very open to sharing their knowledge.
Because James,
so ask.
One of the things here is that, there's such great, profound feelings when you service people. When you help someone. I, for example, did this all on my own without prior knowledge. I've been basically learning every day from the very inception. So every day I do learn something new. So to be able to have people around you that are positive and supportive and energetic, keep them. Those that are naysayers, remove them. It is that easy as I say it is. Believe me, I remove people that are this close in my life just because of negative naysaying. And it's like, okay, so if you can't be supportive of me here, then we could be friends, but we may not talk as much.
That's right. We're good acquaintances.
Yeah, acquaintances, exactly. We either go a step down or we could go a step up. And with folks like yourself, I'm glad to call you a friend, and I'm very proud. Since that moment we saw from last year. And even before that, we've always spoken, but to meet you finally last year and see that growth from that San Diego Comic Con to now, James, I applaud you.
Thank you.
You've had amazing growth.
The applause goes both ways, by the way.
Man. Yeah, man. You've been doing your stuff with the Who Would Win and then bringing to Digital Sky, now doing the ride share again. Folks, please, right at the bottom, subscribe to Digital Sky. It's on YouTube. It's on Apple Podcasts. You won't regret it. You're going to thank us for that escapism. Like, oh my God, I didn't hear the T word. You know what I'm talking about. If, the guy in Washington. You're not going to hear that here.
Right.
You're not going to hear the P word, the stuff that's going on in November. No. You're just going to have escapism. You're going to have Keith, the most pleasant butthead you've ever met in your life, try to pull some crazy shenanigans while doing a ride share where he's stealing someone's car or not. He's a nutcase. Who knows? I mean, I'm not trying to say not to use an Uber and Lyft, but, if his name is Keith, be wary.
you know what's funny is like whenever I've taken a ride share, and use the app or whatever, I'm like, okay, I have no idea of knowing if this person's good, legit, or whatever. And for some reason, that kind of just makes it that much more interesting for me. I'm like, I wonder what's going on. And I've had a couple of rideshare experiences where I get in and we start talking and I kind of like, hey, what's going on? And they get really scared because they're like, really? Why is this guy so nice? Why is he like, he should be like just quiet right now and give me a 5-star review and a good tip and get the,
That reminds me of Woke. I don't know if you saw that show called Woke, but he becomes a rideshare person, if you will, and he's talking as he's driving. He's talking to a customer all about his problems, and then the customer sends a message to the rideshare service like, "Quiet, please." Doesn't even tell him. Sends him a text. Hysterical.
I love it.
Yeah, I come from New York though. We used to talk to our cab drivers like a mother. We would be the type that, raise the music. That we'd raise it. We're pumping music in a yellow taxi cab in New York. That was us. You know what I mean? It was awesome. So with that, James, I want to thank you for your time. I want you to tell everybody where they could just watch Digital Sky and, of course, follow you, Mr. G.
All right. Well, you can subscribe to Rideshare on Digital Sky by going to Apple Podcasts and subscribing to us on Digital Sky. Remember to leave us a 5-star review and a great rating. We read everything that people write about us. Also, you can subscribe to Digital Sky or the Rideshare, Digital Sky channel on YouTube, and that's where all the Rideshare episodes are going to be. Plus, we have all of our other podcasts up there too, so you can binge all the episodes, get up to speed, catch everything. By the way, I do this other show called Who Would Win, and you can follow us on Apple Podcasts as well. Subscribe to us there. And you can find us on social media at Who Would Win Show on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. And you can find me at James Gavsie on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook as well.
And then I'm sharing that, the whowouldwinshow.com/listen, because you got to listen. These are very engaging debates in the world of geek culture that you will love. And then, of course, please visit Digital Sky on YouTube. Check out that amazing first episode, even the pilot, and then even there's a 0 episode before that. So, there's a lot of stuff there on this wonderful channel on YouTube. So with that, I'm Al Mega with the amazing James Gavsie. Thank you for tuning in to another Comic Crusaders podcast. Make sure to follow us at comiccrusaders.com. We have everything there. Comic Crusaders on Twitter, on YouTube, on Instagram, Facebook. Comic Crusaders, you know the logo already. And, of course, follow The Real Al Mega on Twitter. And please check out the realalmegapodcast.com. Subscribe because the website and podcast is coming soon where we're going to be sharing basically information and knowledge from entrepreneurs and the entrepreneurial journey. Again, we spoke a little bit now about the positive journey as an entrepreneur, but we're going to get more in depth to it in something in the AMP. So with that, again, Al Mega, James, Comic Crusaders. Wepa, baby. Thanks for tuning in. Hasta la próxima.